Hi there, my name's Lisa Cato and I'm one of the business catalysts. We work with small business owners to help them grow, save time and get organised, and to make sure they've got foundation blocks of their business in place, such as GDPR. So this is going to be the fastest ever GDPR Essentials Overview, which I'm doing following a talk that I gave to a group of small business owners last week of just what you need to know so that you know what steps you need to take next. So let's get going. What is GDPR? GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulations that come into force in the European Union on the 25th of May, regulated by the Information Commissioner's Office, the ICO. Who does it affect? Well, it affects, why first of all? Why is it coming in? It's designed to protect the individual's right to control the use of his or her personal data. So basically, this is the individual is known in GDPR terms as the subject. So you'll hear a bit about the subject's right to access, the subject's right to erasure. That's the individuals. You are an individual with somebody's data, somebody holding data on you. So it's your rights to control how that data is being used. Who does it affect? It affects anybody that is holding any data on any people in the EU. So what does that actually mean? Well, it's like, what data do you hold? Is it their first name? Well, that comes into what is personal data. Personal data is as little as somebody's name. If it's a unique identifier of a human being, their first name and last name, you need to be GDPR compliant. So what data do you hold? First name, last name, email address, dates of birth, all that kind of stuff. Where are you keeping it? Are you keeping it on a spreadsheet? Are you keeping it on Dropbox? Are you keeping it in a CRM like Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign or MailChimp? Are you keeping it in your account software or your payroll software? Why are you holding it? Are you holding it because people have consented to you having it? This is what the justification is. You've got a legal right, you need it for customs and excise because you've got to report on it, or for other legal reasons. People have got a contract with you, you've invoiced them, they've shown a legitimate interest in something that you have. Life and death, public interest, and consent. Consent obviously being marketing. You don't just get to start sending people information because you've got hold of their business card or their email address from somewhere. And where did you get it from? So the source of it. Did somebody fill in a web form? Did you get a business card? So that's a data usage and flow. Very happy to send you out a data usage and flow document after this presentation if you like. So the considerations you need to take into account is who else is handling the data within your business. Have you got employees that have got access to your client's data or your supplier's data or anything which has got personal data in it? Are they trained in it? Do you have an employee policy? Do you have a document so that, like an accident report book, if you've got a data breach policy of what happens when there is a data breach, you've got to notify all of those people around what to do when there is a data breach. If people need to change their passwords, or you've got to let them know that their data has been breached. You see all sorts of things in the news. There was one recently about Twitter having one. Your cyber security, no more post-it notes on sticky notes on your screens with what passwords are. You've got to make sure that any place that you've got data is password protected, and if you're taking data outside the EU, like to Dropbox for example, that those third-party companies are also secure and that people can't just dip in and get access to your data. There is two types of compliance. You've got processor and controller, the processor being a third party that is handling the data on your behalf, and the controller being you as the person who owns the data. So if you are found to be non-compliant, you can be fined up to 4% of your annual turnover, or 20 million, whichever is the greater. So the word on the street is that the ICO, they're not unkind or stupid. If they see that you've tried to be compliant, then you're absolutely fine. The people burying their heads in the sand and running for the hills and pretending that they can hide away from this are the ones that they're going to be hitting. So what do you need to do as your first steps? The first steps are, for £35, you need to register with the ICO. You need to build awareness in your organisation of anybody that has access to your data, yourself and any third parties and people working there. You need to do a data audit of what data you have, where you've got it and all the rest of it, and I can send you out that document. You need to check the individual's rights. So if I want you to delete my data, can you do that, or do you need to keep it under the HMRC rules or that or anything like that? You need to have a privacy notice, and you need to communicate that so that people, for the subjects whose data you're holding, know what that is. If you're marketing, get consent. The amount of people that have said to me, oh, but what if people don't double opt in? Well, then don't market to them, because they're not interested in what you've got to sell. Secure your data, make sure it's protection by design, make sure that everything is password protected, make sure you're changing passwords regularly. Something like LastPass or Dashlane or OnePass would be really good with that. Have a data breach procedure, so that if you do have a data breach, you know exactly what happens next, and a subject access requests, so that people whose data you are holding, they can see what data you've got, why you've got it, and all the rest of it, and what their rights are for what you do with it. So the absolute minimum you need to have in place as a small business is this list on the screen now. And that's all the stuff that's going to be gone through by Erica at the workshop as well. The next workshop that we've got coming up is on the 9th of May. We're providing all of that documentation. Erica, who is a GDPR expert and lawyer, will be walking us all through it so that we can actually walk out of the workshop compliant. We're also going to be having talks from IT experts and HR experts for people that we need that need that extra little bit of support for their organisations. If you've got any questions at all, put them in the comments, or please feel free to email me. I hope that was GDPR in 7 minutes that you found useful. Me and Erica are here to help answer any questions and make sure that you don't panic too much with all this coming in. It will change when there's case law, it will change, and when we come out of Europe, it will change. But for right now, that's what we see that you need to know for the 25th of May.